It's time for another episode of Hops and Hedges, where we talk everything beer and landscaping and everything in between. So crack open a cold one and let's dig in. And there we are. With me today is Chris Hutten from the Landmark Group. Curtis, how are you?
I am doing quite well. How are you doing, Heather?
Excellent. Did I say Chris or Curtis? I might have said Chris.
You started with Chris and then you corrected to Curtis.
Ah, right.
Good.
Right at the very beginning of an episode. That's great. Thank goodness I actually know you outside of Zoom. So you know that I know what your name is.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, that's a really important part. So for those tuning in, Curtis, not Chris. Curtis, would you tell us who you're with and what you guys do?
Yeah, so I work for a company called the Landmark Group. We're in the Blue Mountains area in Thornbury, Ontario. We are a design, build, and property maintenance company. We've been doing this for 38 years now. And yeah, we're about 30, 35 employees at the peak season. And yeah, we do everything from designing projects for projects that we build. And then we do lawn garden maintenance, Christmas lights, and seasonal planters as well.
Very cool. So with Christmas lights, does that mean, like, do you have, I don't know, you use lifts then to do that?
Yep, we have a couple towable booms and then we rent a bunch. So yeah, we try not to do too much ladder work.
Yep.
Boom works a little safer.
Yep.
And yeah, works quite well for us.
Excellent. My husband and I, we have a 3.5-story blue spruce in our front yard that we've always wanted to do Christmas lights, but just not financially feasible. It would look epic, but a little too epic for our budget.
Yep. And
So
we have a lot of clients who say the same thing.
Yep.
It takes a lot of work to do a tree like that.
Oh, I don't doubt it. And I'm not going to attempt to do it. So that's not going to happen. So Landmark, you've been with Landmark for 5 years, but they started in 86.
Yep. They started before I was born, actually.
So they started before I was born too.
Yeah.
But I totally assumed, so it's an 86. I'm an 87 baby.
Okay. Yep.
So it's like, wow, it's Landmark Group is a year older than I am. That's
pretty cool.
Kind of cool. Kind of cool. And so you've got a bit of a homesteading thing at your own place. Tell me a little bit about that. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, so let's go back a few years. My wife and I bought a property and we had a couple kids at the time. So we had the option to buy maybe a nicer house in town or a more modest place in the country. We went for the country property with about 6 acres of land.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we started off with a few gardens and chickens, and we got into pigs, and we raised pigs for a bunch of our friends and our families. And we do about 50 chickens a year. We butcher it at home with our kids, and lots of garden beds. My wife she's getting into her own herbal products and infused oils and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, pretty much all from our own property. And so
that's so cool.
Yeah, it keeps us busy, and it's really nice for the kids to just learn and grow up. And where does their food come from, and how do we stay busy and provide for our own family, right?
Yeah. So she does herbs and stuff. Does she also do any cut flowers?
Not right now.
Not right now. Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? And so I know you through the peer-to-peer group. We're both members of Landscape Ontario. And I was trying to think, when did you join peer-to-peer?
2 falls ago, so 2022. I went to the Fall Summit in Muskoka. That was the first time I attended one of their events.
Okay. Gotcha. It's all coming back to me now because I was trying to think and I was like, I feel like you'd only been there for a few years. And that's why. So what do you think is, I mean, I think we both have our own, but what do you think is the biggest takeaway from being a member of peer-to-peer? This podcast, by the way, is not paid for or sponsored by Landscape Ontario. I just happen to think it's awesome. So when I get a guest on here that's also a member, I'd like to pick your brain.
Yeah, I've really appreciated a couple things in there. First of all, the content has been really good. Come out from those events usually just really encouraged and just get busy implementing some new stuff. But then, just as important, the peers that we get to network with and make connections. Just made some really, I would say, good friends, and there's some great mentors in that group, and people are very willing to share.
Yeah.
And there's like no worry about confidentiality or, like we're stealing each other's ideas. Everybody's willing to share and help each other out.
Yeah. So, something they often say at the peer-to-peer meetings is that if there's 8 people at a table sharing ideas, then everyone goes home with 7 new ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So when we have those breakout sessions, like that's only one session, you get 7 brand new ideas that you hadn't considered before, and you just provided one, which I think is a pretty cool way of looking at stuff.
I agree.
I'm looking at the design that's right behind you.
hmm
Which one is that? Is that one my favorite, or is it not my favorite?
No, that's a different project that we did finished I'd say four years ago. It's up. It's a really cool project. It's a great view from the top of the escarpment overlooking Georgian Bay.
So
But
cool.
it's a slightly different pool project.
Yep. So
That one.
I have something here that was easy for me to grab because right behind my computer is my vision board, which
Mhm,
is actually a floor to ceiling. A vision board is too small for me, so it's a whole wall. And on there, I don't know if we can see this. I have
mhm.
this picture,
Yeah, yeah.
and this is one of my favorites. And I think this was for me the first time that Landmark Group, like I became very aware of you guys, besides peer to peer, like I know you personally, but you as the
Mhm.
company and the quality that you guys do, this is just so inspiring. And this is the Dunington-Grubb Award. Which
Yeah.
year was that? Was that
That was I guess it for 2022. We won that.
2022?
Then yeah, and that project actually went to the top 3 finalists for the national awards last year. Unfortunately, we didn't get the grand prize, but absolutely, we're so proud of that project
I'm going to
and
show it
just
one more time for anybody who's watching. Just epic. So epic. You can check it out. I'm sure there's lots of pictures online, but this picture out of the Landscape Ontario magazine sits on my vision board. So,
well,
and
we're
then
honored
you
to have it on your
guys,
board.
what's that?
We're honored to have it on your board there.
There you go. It's truly inspiring. And you guys walked away with a number of more awards this year, right?
Yeah, yeah, we did a few awards in construction design, and we got one in Christmas lights actually.
That's so cool. That's so neat. So before we dig in too much about business, I'm wondering what you're drinking.
Okay, perfect. It's not actually not open yet, so I'm gonna do that. But
Excellent.
it's Side Launch Brewery just out of Collingwood, Ontario.
I've been
Hazy
to that
IPA.
brewery.
Yeah, I've actually done a couple of bike rides, and we started and finished there, and it's yeah, it's got a special place in my heart, and the beer's delicious. Yeah.
I think it was Side Launch. They had a limited banana IPA and there was no banana in it. It just something happened with the hops and it tasted like banana runts.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. But I saw that so you're another hazy, juicy IPA guy.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, I'm not a guy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
fan.
I've got Life in the Clouds by Collective Arts.
Okay, great. I've never had
This
that one yet.
one I got just because I like the can, and they keep changing the can art on this one. So Life in the Clouds, they work with a number of different artists and they showcase. So the can's always different,
No,
which
that's
is
so
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
So cheers to you. I
yeah,
did not realize that you were a hazy, juicy IPA guy. So
yeah.
next peer-to-peer event, we'll have to do a beer.
We can absolutely.
Excellent. And then I thought there was another one that for beer wise. So that one is the Side Launch. Would you say that's one of your like top 5 go-tos?
Yeah, there's that one. I'm actually not very picky. Any IPA is good. The
Yep.
hazy, juicy ones are great. I mostly just drink local beer, so Collingwood. Um, there's actually one I used to live in a town called Elora, and they have a great beer, the Elora Borealis.
Oh, that's a
That's a
cute name.
favorite. Yeah, and more of a domestic one would be, I guess, the Muskoka Detour beer. That's a favorite of mine as well.
Yep. I just had yesterday we recorded an episode with Janet Mott, and that's what she
Okay.
was drinking.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice.
Good choice. Very good choice. Um, so let's talk about plants because that's part of what we like, right? Now you guys are primarily hardscaping, but you guys use like a lot of ornamental grasses and stuff.
Yeah, we do quite a bit of plantings. We love trees. We do lots and lots of trees every year, lots of grasses. Try to do more native plants, and especially we're not in northern Ontario, but a little more north. Our area can be a little harder on plants. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so our designers spec out some really awesome planting plans, and then our maintenance crews keep topping that up all the time as well.
Yeah. It's funny. I always think about Northern Ontario. I mean, so many other places in the world, but Northern Ontario, not just that the climate is difficult on the plants, but I sometimes can't fathom digging out and carving out gardens in some of these areas where the rock is so close to the surface.
hmm
And you guys are
We
doing pools. So,
Well, to be honest, that's not as big of a deal our way.
no?
Like we've done some projects in Muskoka and big time, it's a factor.
Yeah.
Around here we can excavate where we need to.
Nice. So you got a lot more space.
Yeah.
I often wonder if in the Muskokas they use dynamite. Like, how do you stick a shovel in the ground and you're in rock?
You just got to work with it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I just do Southwestern Ontario and just softscaping, so I don't have to worry about digging in and into any of that. Um, so for stone, you
hmm
mentioned the limestone boulders full of mosses, so that's like the mossy rock,
Yeah.
and that's like found here in Ontario, right? Like that's an Ontario
Yeah.
sourced material.
Yeah. So I shouldn't give away all our secrets, but we work with a couple of local farmers and they go around with machines and pick it from
Yep.
farm field. So years ago, when the farmers were clearing their lots, they would stack the stone in these field rows, and for 100 years they would sit there and age just beautifully. And it was
Mm-hmm.
discarded stone, but over time it weathered, and that's some of our favorite stuff if we can get our hands on it. And
Yeah.
we'll try to include it because if you're very careful with it, which we try to be, we place every rock on the trailer and
Yeah.
strap it on and don't beat it around too much, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks like it's been there forever, and it's such a unique, cool look to it.
Absolutely. It's funny because I think so far, I think everybody who's been on the podcast has been leaning more towards natural hardscaping materials as
hmm
their favorite, which is kind of surprising to me. I thought a lot of people would be leaning more towards the modular and straight edges, but I think we're kind of seeing a shift to the natural because it's classic, right? It never goes out of
Yeah.
style.
We've always had a lot of natural products, especially the Bruce Peninsula, not far from us, has a lot of quarries and natural stone products.
Hmm.
We've been able to get these products for a long time. We worked directly with some of them for years. Um, but we're seeing a little more of a trend to go with the Teco blocks and permacons. We're doing that more and more, the
Hmm.
stoners products. So I think over time, the natural stone's getting harder to find as well. So
Right?
that's going to be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever used the Borealis stone from Block?
Oh, you'd have to talk to one of my designers for that. I don't,
Oh, okay.
but we don't, we use a little bit of Teco block,
Yep.
but I'm not 100% sure actually.
It's one of the weird random questions that I often wonder because it's one of my favorite products. I've never had a client opt for it because of the price tag. It is an expensive product, but it's a man-made stone product that looks like stone, looks like wood. So you could have
Okay.
a patio that looks like wood and you won't get slivers and it'll never weather and it won't,
Mhm.
but it's pretty pricey. I can't think of what the
Yeah.
price is off the top, but
We-
so talking about equipment, have you got
Mhm.
a favorite tool or something that is like this is what you got to have?
Well, I don't think anything special. We set up all our crews with, 5-ton trucks, their own mini excavators, skid steers. We
Yep.
don't really have space issues like you might have in the city or Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
We can get full-size machines in almost every property. So we run a variety of equipment. Kubota Mini X's, our skid steers are a bunch of varieties.
Yeah.
We just outfitted them with some AMI tilt attachments this year. We love the M-Quip products, the stone lifters, the vacuums, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, we try to use more and more tools like that to save our employees' backs. We want them to work a long time without having, yeah, those
Yeah.
issues. So
We definitely struggle a lot more here in London, Toronto areas for what piece of equipment can get into this property. We often, the designers will go on, we're doing inventory and analysis of the site, and we have to measure the space between the house and the neighbor to see what pieces of equipment we can run through there,
yeah,
or
so
fences or gates or, ugh.
for us, sometimes if it's tight, we'll just have to cut down a tree and then replant it. But
Yeah.
we could usually get in every property, no problem.
Have you ever had a job where you've had to crane something in?
Yep. Yeah, we did fiberglass pools. We do. We did one last summer. I think I put it out on our Instagram feed where it was like a steep driveway, massive mature trees, and we had to crane it from basically the road, swung it over all the trees, over the houses, and dropped it in place. It was pretty epic.
That's so cool. I don't know why. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I figure if I didn't end up in landscaping, I could have ended up with heavy equipment machine
Hmm.
operator. But seeing cranes and big trucks, I just think that's so cool. And I've
Yeah.
not yet been on a job site where something got craned in, and I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, it is. I think it would, yeah, you're right. Everybody on site is watching and taking pictures. And the client that time like got all his buddies to come over and check it out. And they had their lawn chairs set up just watching the pool come up. And it was
That would
like
be me.
their day for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, as long as their butts are in the chair and they're not walking through your job site,
Yep.
I've had that where it's like, do you have steel toes on? No, this is a job site. You can't be here.
Yeah.
Go sit on your deck or whichever, right? Um, so question for you for this is something that's coming up, and I think a lot of us are facing it, is being short-staffed,
Hmm.
trying to find the real people, good fit. So what are you using to outreach or to hire? And I mean, that might be somebody else at the Landmark Group, but are you guys primarily using Indeed and the Yellow Job Board, or are you guys doing something else?
Yeah. So we just hired a full-time HR person in November because it's just a lot more work than it used to be. And like you're just contacting more people, interviewing more people. It's all good. And but we use a platform called Bamboo HR
Okay.
that cross posts all our job ads to Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, all at the same time. We also advertise on our website, and on our website, we do get a lot of, I think, unique job leads. People who
Hmm.
want to move to the area often land like we'll do Google search on landscape companies in the area, and they hit our site first. And
That's nice.
we do get a lot of really great recruits that way. Um, but yeah, we definitely see the staffing uh, shortage.
Hmm.
We're usually full staffed. It just takes a little bit more work to find the staff. And I think more importantly, what we're trying to shift to is spending more time proactively making sure that we can retain our employees.
Yeah.
So we're a living wage employer. We've been doing that for a few years now. So uh, we don't pay minimum wage. We pay way above that. Very competitive rates in our area too. We try to offer a lot of, company functions and incentives like that. So a couple
Mm-hmm.
days ago, we had a company hockey game. We go skiing in the
Oh,
winter,
fun.
play ball, go canoeing, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, barbecues. We try to do something at least once a month. Try to make it
Mm-hmm.
fun. And I think the key is that, yeah, if you continue to work on your culture and just have a fun place to work where it's not super stressful, hopefully people stay. And if they all stay, you don't have to hire as much. So I
Right.
think that's the way I think everybody should go. Just treat everybody really well, and yeah,
Yeah,
better
there's
outcome.
something I always say, and uh I don't know where the limit of appropriateness is yet on this podcast, but I would say if there's one thing in life, like just one guiding principle, don't be a dick. You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Like if you're an employer, if you're an employee, if you're in the grocery store and you're feeling impatient or somebody says something mean, I don't know, like just don't be a
Hmm.
dick. You know?
Yeah.
It's not a bad rule, guiding principle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and you never know where somebody's at, right? And I think what
You
we
never
see
know.
with a lot of younger people in our workforce too, it's stressful, right? It's expensive. It's hard to, you know, pave your way as a young person. Maybe it was a lot easier years ago. Rent is expensive, bills are expensive.
Yeah,
They're just starting their careers. They're not getting paid top dollars yet, right? So we can't assume that they're all in the same place as maybe we are, and we need to be mindful of that and treat people fairly. I think that's super important.
absolutely. And you mentioned being a living wage employer, which is only
Hmm.
something that I found out about um, probably 2 years ago or something like
Hmm.
that. I had no idea it was a thing. But you just go on the website and it's a live mapping tool that
Hmm.
shows you, you click on the area that you live on or live in, and it will tell you what not the minimum wage is, but what the living wage is to live and work in that area.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot higher than minimum wage. Like minimum
Yeah.
wage is not living wage anywhere, I don't think.
Yeah. And they go geographically. So we're Gravers Simcoe, which is a
Yep.
really huge area. And you think sometimes like, well, you're a little more out in the country, it's cheaper living. It's actually the second most expensive area to live in all of Ontario, just below GTA. So living wage in our area is $22.75. So for
Okay.
the landmark, we agree to pay every full-time employee at least that wage.
That's awesome. That's a great
Right.
place to start, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Um, so if you've got one book, and I don't know what your choice is, but if there was somebody starting a business, just getting into landscaping or thinking about doing it, or maybe even just a new employee that's maybe um, in the business, can you think of any either professional or personal development books that you'd recommend?
Yeah, I'm a big Simon Sinek fan, and I'm sure there's lots of them out there. And
Yep.
yeah, starts with why is so important, and we see it in our workplace and why we do marketing the way we do, and why we talk to people the way we do. I think that is it was such an impactful read for me, and yeah, I highly recommend that. And yeah, more so than reading books, I'm a big podcaster, and obviously
Is
this
this your
is
first time being a podcast guest?
it is actually, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sweet.
But yeah, so I listen to a lot of mostly like business and business leadership. I'm really uh, interested in the leadership side of things
Yeah.
and um, professional development. I like to learn about different people groups, right? Like different, the millennials, the Gen Zs, the Gen
Yeah,
Ys.
different generations, because it is a generational workplace, right? And it's only going to change and evolve as the working age people get older,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So for a podcast, is there one you'd recommend people check out?
I listen to so much from anything from Joe Rogan to Jordan Peterson. I listen to a lot of cycling podcasts, which are kind of maybe boring for most people.
Okay.
Um, Simon Sinek, I listen to him quite a bit. So usually on my way to work, I'll listen to something if I'm in the mood for it.
Yeah. I can't listen to podcasts on my way to work because I sleep in the other room and I
Yeah,
grab a coffee on my way to the studio and
yeah,
I'm here already. So
yeah. I got 25 minutes to drive to and from work, so it's a good
Okay.
amount
It's
of
kind of nice
realistic.
having that wind down time,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? What was I just gonna say? Oh, Simon Sinek, because the other one, when I looked back, I've got The Infinite Game. So
Hmm.
that's another Simon Sinek one. I don't know if you've read that one, but when it talks about being in it for the long haul and how a lot of small businesses, they kind of get to a point and they kind of peter off. And so he
Hmm.
talks about, you're in it for, it's the infinite game. It's not me versus you. It's not I'm better than you or you're better than me. It's we're actually stronger together and we'll last longer if we work together,
Hmm.
which is a great book though.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, it's on my shelf, but I haven't read it yet. So it's
Okay,
coming. Yeah.
there you go. Can add that one to the list. Um, so you talked about cycling because you
Hmm.
listen to cycling podcasts. So do you have like a cycle bike, like a what am I saying? An exercise bike, or do you cycle where you are?
Yeah, I got lots of bikes. So road bike, gravel bike. I got into that a few years ago.
Okay.
It, yeah, so I spend a lot of time. I try to commute to work once a week in the summer, which is about 50 kilometers each way, which is just excellent to be able to get out there and get some
Hmm.
fresh air and
And
exercise.
how long does
And
that take you?
about an hour and a half, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. That's not too bad. I think
Nope.
I've been at Blue Mountain Village before. I think is it Blue Mountain? There's somewhere
Hmm.
there where there's like dirt bike trails, and we've seen people biking, and it scares the crap out of me. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
try that, but
So they used to have it at Blue Mountain, and then in 2020 they stopped doing the downhill biking. I think you could still do that at Mount St. Louis Moonstone area,
okay.
but I stay on the roads more or less. Um, I'm not a huge adrenaline junkie anymore, like I maybe was when I was a kid. So
Right.
um, yeah, try not to break any bones. And
That's a good thing to try for.
yep,
So, well, and cycling's good for mental health, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Because once you get a rhythm going, I mean, you don't want to space out too much because you're on the road and you're sharing with cars and stuff. But talk about being mindful in the moment, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like I heard a good quote about cycling. It's like a time where you can think about everything and nothing at the same time.
Hmm.
And I find it's a really good way. You got a stressful day at work. I'm dealing in the office all day, meeting after meeting, and you get out on the bike. You could just go in a healthy way, deal with your emotions.
Yeah.
If you're like me, I got a lot of energy. I can't sit still all day, so it's also a way for me to get rid of yeah, my physical energy,
Yep.
and then I could show it better at home. I have more energy for my kids and my wife at the workplace. I feel good when I ride my bike lots. I eat
Hmm.
better. So it's just for me, it's been the last few years. It's just been a really good way for me just to add healthy habits in my life.
Yeah. And I think we all need something like that. I know
Mhm.
I'd probably say I have more mental energy, if that makes sense, than physical energy. Like I find that my brain goes a million miles a minute. What did somebody say that adult ADHD is like having a Ferrari for a brain and bicycle brakes?
Fair enough.
So that pretty much sums it up for me, right? So I need to find something like cycling or for some people it's swimming. I don't know, are you much
Yep.
of a swimmer?
Nope, not at all. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think I think everybody should have something that they do
something.
on their own that is just a way to, in a healthy way, just deal with your daily stresses
Yeah.
and use your energy in a good way and yeah, stay active.
Mine's gardening. So this
Hmm.
time of the year I'm really struggling.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
The winter
So,
blues is a real thing.
oh yeah, and seasonal affective disorder, right?
Hmm.
So I try and do what I can with my houseplants, but it's just not the same, you
Yeah.
know? I'm just itching to get out in the garden. Um, so before we sign off, because I see that we've got the countdown ticker here going, you talked about, professional development and how you're always seeking that, kind of what it's like to work for you guys. And you guys are actually going to be hiring for this year, right? Come the season, you guys are looking for new employees, which is exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking for a few positions. So in the maintenance side, lawn and garden crews, we're looking for a couple of people. And then at least one person in construction joining our crews.
Nice.
And then one other position we're looking for in the office is like a project coordinator to work with
Hmm.
the manager and help manage these awesome projects. So
So cool. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with next. There's space for more projects on my vision board, Curtis.
yeah, we have a couple really cool projects that we hope to photograph in the next year or two.
Nice.
We like to wait a long time, as long as we're allowed to take pictures, because the plants just look better 4 years later than they do
Yeah. Once it
beginning.
fills in, just
Yeah.
beautiful.
So we typically, yeah, if we're taking pictures of jobs that we did, I guess in 2020 this year. So we like to wait, take our time, get those plants just very full and thriving, and then yeah. But we got some pretty cool projects coming up this year for sure.
Awesome. And yep, they are hiring. So unless, what did I say
Mhm.
before? Unless you're seeing this podcast episode or listening to it in November of 2024 or later, then maybe they're not looking for employees. But if it's anytime before then, check out their website because all of your roles you're looking for and hiring for are right on the website, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So perfect. So one last question for you before we go. So you don't own Landmark Group, right? You're one of the business managers of Landmark Group.
Mhm.
But if somebody new was coming along, either wanting to start a landscaping company or work for a landscaping company, like why do you do it? Like you're working for the Landmark Group, but what keeps you there and not going not about going to another landscaping company, but why have you found landscaping and decided to stay in landscaping?
That's a good question. I hope we have enough time to answer this one. But
You have 5 minutes and
so
42
yeah,
seconds.
so interestingly enough, when so my father-in-law owns the Landmark Group, and he asked me a couple of times to work for him. I wasn't interested at the time. I didn't want to work for my father-in-law. And
Right.
eventually asked me again, and I figured, if somebody's going to ask me at least 3 times, I'll talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we did, and I'm very happy I did. It's been a really good career. But if I'm honest, when I started at the Landmark Group, landscaping wasn't a huge passion of mine, and I've had to learn to appreciate it more and more over time.
Yeah.
Um, but the reason why I stay in it, I love working with people, building teams, growing teams, working with people in that sense. So if I was on my own, I would have a bit of a harder time finding fulfillment in my job. So in a
Mm.
place where I can work with 30 plus other people, that's exciting for me. So we have a pretty cool team here, and just to see people thriving. And for me, a goal is that they thrive in their workplace, but also just as a person in general, and to have that influence and effect on people. That's what does it for me.
Well said. Well, I'm not going to end off on a better note than that. Oh, we could all be so lucky to have a boss or a manager that has that mindset. So, Curtis, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I
Yeah,
am
thanks.
so glad that I know you, and I will certainly be seeing you around, and maybe
Hmm.
we'll have you back for a part 2 sometime.
That sounds awesome. No, thanks for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Curtis.
All right, take care, Heather.
That concludes this week's episode. Tune in every Wednesday for someone new and some new brew. Don't forget to click the follow button to stay in touch. See you next time.